Hello, this is Henry Halliday, and I want to welcome you to the continued series of Updating Technology broadcasts. This is number 14, and I'm enthused by you joining me again today. First, let's take a quick review again across technologies. Financial. It looks like part of the government budgeting process is working, as defense spending of $886 billion, that's with a capital B, was passed and sent to the president. Inflation seems to be cooling, lessening the chance of major recession next year. Still, no official word on the U.S. digital dollar. Manufacturing. After strike settlements, the automotive manufacturing is back on track except for shortages of key components such as electronics, batteries, and key workers. Many robotics are being assumed as components for long-term labor usage. Business. More consolidations are expected, as in the medical and drugstore businesses. Key worker shortages, working conditions, and wage demands are involved. It might be noted that Boeing is now requiring all workers to report for full shift on facility work. Medical. Some significant advances have been noted in understanding the human brain and the DNA change. More on this topic later. Security. The newest revelation about artificial intelligence is focusing on the misuse of media generation of music, art, and scripts using copywritten images, verbal recordings, images, and other existing media and or documentation. This could create a real crisis in the upcoming elections. Aerospace. We now are awaiting the next launch of a man-on-the-moon mission scheduled next year. Hypersonic rockets are the biggest threat to world peace, with little discussion on defense projects. Computing. Computing super farms continue to expand with exceedingly high energy demand. The deployment of an operational nuclear fusion capability site in Japan has been recognized. A realized cost of investment for this facility is still to be established. A similar USA fusion site is still under construction to demonstrate the smaller footprint and equivalent energy production of existing fusion facilities. Robotics. More cobots are appearing to enter commercial roles for dispensing products, mobile deliveries, and servicing. And now let's take a more specific look at some of the technologies. Financial. The schedule for a digital dollar has still been announced, but further details are lacking and are expected to be early this next year. The exact detailed schedule has to be very complex, and conversion period could be quite long due to the complexity of world interaction between all currencies. Cryptocurrencies, still unregulated, but most seem to post a stabilized existence with really nothing new. Manufacturing, business, technology integration. Increased robotic applications, particularly in the distribution and delivery sites, is now extending into automated delivery systems, including airdrops from pilotless drones. Many manufacturers are assessing their employment roles and the potential impact of AI to help or eliminate by AI advocates. Transportation. Driverless semi-trucks are increasing, especially in long-distance hauling in the South, where there are long stretches of desolate highways. Automated cars, taxis, service trucks are still being assessed for vehicle safety, considering the uncontrolled environments they operate in, especially where there are many pedestrians. Robotics. There has been a continued advancement in robotics, with the concentration on robots that work alongside humans, particularly in the use of artificial intelligence for robotic interaction with humans. One area for robotics that's been handling boxes, as in warehouses and distribution center, is continuing. The effort has been demonstrated that robots could work together with humans in tighter spaces, longer hours, and it's faster, especially in trucks. Due to the shortage of skilled workers, there has been especially importance to the long-term use of robotics, working with humans to filling positions where they can help human workers, especially in hazardous, dangerous, and monotonous environments. Having robots with wheels rather than legs and feet may have advantages in the ease of moving around. Other advantages for robotics is push to be able to understand speech in order to respond to human communications and take appropriate action. This may depend on new high-speed internet supercomputers using the new technologies. Medical. A significant advance in the treatment of Tourette's syndrome, that is, tics or sound characteristics, has had a significant advance through gene splicing. The process requires the identification of the particular portion of the DNA change that is not normal and what to replace it with. Research into Tourette's has yielded a significant advance to identify likely areas and what and where to perform the splice. Recently, an advanced procedure was approved and applied to severed Tourette's case with outstanding results with more than 90% recovery. This is a remarkable advance in gene splicing to cure human frailties. An operation was required within the victim's brain, where previous research has identified the affected region and where the modified DNA was inserted. Security. Continued vulnerability of major servers remains a continued issue with the Internet. This would appear to be a good application in artificial intelligence if a good set of identifying characteristics can be established for training systems. Artificial intelligence. The use of artificial intelligence has continued to expand to improve user productivity, expand system utility, and expand the recognition of systems to the surroundings. This is particularly true of on-road vehicles, where environments continually changing. I have a new 2024 Lexus NX, which has incorporated 360-degree sensors for near vehicle motion and vulnerability for other vehicles, people, and obstacles, which provide alerts and braking action if required. The Lexus that I have also provides a large screen console with a local map and route guidance, including turn-by-turn voice guidance. A 360-degree suite of cameras and sensors, together with a digital rear view mirror camera, is providing a greater view of what is happening around the car, especially in traffic and for parking assistance. This capability is equivalent to my home video and audio system that uses multiple cameras, a Ring doorbell, and floodlight cameras to status my home with motion detection and alerts, but no moving environment. This is not a level 3, that is hands and eyes off system, but does provide assisted driving for lane, speed, and distance maintenance. This works well day and night with only light touch on the steering wheel for highway driving. Home automation. Years ago, I bought a glass range top with 5 burners and digital control for use. Well, the range top failed, and with the only clue besides not working was an error code which even the manufacturer could not interpret. Because the unit is more than 10 years old I decided not to attempt to repair, but buy a new one because of the lack of availability of parts. However, I found my home wiring with the range was out of compliance, so I had the wiring replaced. Costly. Oh well. Energy technology. Advances in solar array materials and insulation improvements have made solar a great investment. My system is over 20 years old and is still functioning well within the estimated 10-year payoff. New systems should greatly improve on this. In my area, Washington State, the winter sun availability is only about 10% of what the summer provides due to the lower position of the sun on the horizon and, of course, with the much cloudier days. Still, on a yearly basis, I get a 40 to 50% savings on electric bills. Wind. The number of wind farms is still increasing, but I have stated earlier a significant amount of real estate is required for the energy return. Ocean-based wind turbines are also being added, with servicing by ocean vessels that were used previously to service oil wells. Geothermal, still being pursued but limited where extraction is dependent on the depth from the geothermal layer. Nuclear reactors. A recent announcement from Japan that their first fusion reactor is now online, although not producing enough electricity yet for a positive return on investment. As I mentioned earlier, this type of reactor produces no waste, radiation, and can use spent waste from existing usual fission reactors. No current information on the status of U.S. implementation yet. Well, I think this will do it for this 14th podcast, and I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to having you again on the next podcast. First, let's take a quick review across technologies. Financial. The Congress was still unable to complete a full agreement on a budget for the government, but has passed a partial budget which excludes funding for border security and Israeli-European conflicts. By the time this podcast airs, the budget should have been formulated and passed. USA cryptocurrencies appear to be on hold as no announcements on the status may await fall elections. The lower inflation rate will keep the economy improving. Manufacturing. The step up of U.S. manufacturing with the help of the government is progressing with the improved funding for the automotive industry and semiconductor industry. New semiconductor facilities will take years to appear. Boeing has taken a $1 billion hit as quality control issues have affected its bottom line. Business. The issue of in-office versus in-home work continues to fester with no easy agreement. Due to rising prices, many workers are taking the strike route to voice their concerns. Continued theft of personal data due to cyber theft has threatened the economy with no quick resolution. When and how the government will intervene as necessary to protect individual rights. Medical. Another controversial use of genetically modified animal organ transplants has been announced. Due to the shortage of human transplants, we may see this use of modified organs expand. There is still an issue of how to improve the length of time the transplanted organs can survive, currently estimated as a few months. Security. There remains an issue of digital security and business data, where it seems to be almost a weekly database is penetrated. Any large or small business that uses personal data, such as credit cards, personal data, and bank account data, should realize the potential of criminal access and increased security process. Aerospace. With continued commercial quality issues, Boeing is considering discontinuing their space business. This would include the Advanced Launch System joint venture. Recently, a FBI probe has been announced into the investigation of potential criminal activity within Boeing and/or the subcontractor Spirit Airlines. Computing. With expanded use of AI, automated intelligence, in all areas of business now include service robots and factory floor robots. More later. Robotics. With more mobile robots appearing in warehousing and other items such as picking stock to help inventory and replacement of stock. Some businesses are also trying robots as service aids were employed in hard-to-find work areas. Also, more later. And now, let's take a specific look at some technologies. Financial. The replacement of USA physical currency with crypto apparently is on hold as no further activity or progress has been announced. Note, the earlier discussion caught up in the details of daily transactions. Maybe the transition plan will evolve. I am certainly interested in the details. It seems that a recession has been averted, and now the Fed plans an incremental decrease of 3 or 4 steps in interest rates over the next year. Cryptocurrency. The use of virtual money for physical money is easy on paper, but the devil is in the details. That is, the physical coins that have been involved forever in societies across the globe. Obviously, transactions could be in the hundredths of a dollar, but now local transactions would be on the national level for instantaneous accounting. With all the current internet traffic, how will this allow these transactions be accommodated? I am certainly waiting to hear the answer. Manufacturing, business technology integration. Thanks to the government funding, particularly in semiconductors and auto manufacturing, further expansion is underway. Expect more robotic involvement. Transportation. The replacement of gasoline vehicles is underway, but is costing consumers and businesses more. An interesting comparison is made for the technologies for total emissions based on vehicle life of 180,000 miles. It's sort of like birth to death. Internal combustion. 370 grams of carbon dioxide per mile, or 66.8 tons over the life of a vehicle. Hybrid. 270 grams of carbon dioxide per mile, or 53.6 tons over the life. Plug-in electric. 195 grams of carbon dioxide per mile, or 38.7 tons over the life. The estimate includes mining, drilling, extraction, processing, manufacturing, and utilization of the vehicle. Why are electric vehicle emissions not lower? It is primarily due to the mining, refinement, and processing of lithium for batteries. You also may ask, why 180,000 miles? That seems unrealistic, but is an assumption made by industry to establish a common baseline from a life to death of a vehicle. Using a smaller number of miles just increases the amount of pollutions per mile. The intent of these results show that electric vehicles still contribute to world air pollution, but significantly less than gasoline engines alone. By the way, my new 2024 Lexus US, which is a hybrid, has a mode under which under 30 miles per hour and at cruising speeds, the battery is recharged by the gasoline engine for use in all-electric modes such as parking, heavy traffic, etc. The batteries are not as powerful enough as an electric vehicle for general highway use, but are invoked automatically for slowing traffic. Robotics. The field may depend on the high speed of the internet to supercomputers to use the high-speed processing of vast amount of data for all new AI applications to allow for more realistic real-time interaction. Some efforts are attempting to use limited data to minimize extensive data fusion, such as choosing those applications which are focused on particular aspects. A company called Appatronic that specializes in general-purpose robots has announced Apollo, humanoid robot specifically engineered to work alongside humans. This robot is about 5 feet tall and weighs 160 pounds, comparable to humans, with the digital panels on its face and chest to aid in communication. Initially introduced by Mercedes-Benz to bring parts to inspection stations, and then later introduced to manufacturing process to support skilled workforce in areas such as low-skilled, repetitive, physically demanding work. Other key features of this system of robots include energy-efficient design using 4-hour swappable batteries, mass production capabilities with multiple source components. The robots market is at a point with power of the edge computing for all using AI elements, battery capacity, and maturity of legged and arm motion algorithms. Security. Major corporation databases and couldn't to be violated, giving up valuable personal data. Obviously, some government intervention seems to be prudent when personally is compromised for all individuals by the apparent incompetence of companies. Resource. Direct intrusion by the government may seem to be a violation of privacy itself, but maybe consolidation industry group should be initiate some action, providing guidance and help establishing processes for business to secure their data. Artificial intelligence. This field has mushroomed using neural network technology, which mimics human thought process. This function needs supercomputers with vast databases to function as neural networks in a real-time world environment. It is expected that restricting the range and data over which decisions are exercised may be necessary to expedite the minimization of processing requirements and data communications. Using limited AI robots could greatly expand their utility. By the way, U.S. government financial support to building new semiconductors will aid in the processing elements for robotics. In the meantime, more and more applications are beginning to incorporate AI in applications, including taking simple automated machines into adaptable machines that could easily adapt to new tasks. This will include reconfigurable hardware changed by machines to serve new requirements without retraining. This process has been called RPM for Robotics Foundation Model, which may even make mistakes just like people do. It may take time for mistakes to occur and may not be totally avoided. AI has also found a way into vehicle accident avoidance and routine parking assist, where multiple vectors must be assessed in real time to ensure success. As more data is processed, mistakes are reduced. Obviously, mistakes by a 150-pound robot must be minimized for safety. Home automation. Home security using World Wide Web connections to provide continuous monitoring of in-home security devices with some added cost. So far, other useful home robots have been limited to vacuum cleaners and lawnmowers. As the industry introduces more robotics, home applications are sure to evolve. Medical. More announcements of organ replacements with genetically modified animal organs. So far, the replacements seem to be as a short-term process, apparently lasting only a few months. Obviously, these initial organ replacements are required to gain knowledge, processes, and experience with this technique to foster confidence in the process and determine whether extending life as possible in the near future. Energy technology. Most solar cell integration has been established to integrate solar cells and circuitry to allow flat installation without a framing structure like I have, thus reducing the cost and installation time. The conversion of AC to DC for home use power is still expensive. Wind. Still viable, but used mostly offshore where it does not interface with land use for crops, housing, and tourists. Geothermal. This is still limited to specific regions where the lava flow is relatively close to the surface. Nuclear reactors. Japan now has introduced many commercial reactors, although expensive. A United States commercial equivalent is still not online. Electric vehicles. Access to public charging stations is an issue since the higher power demand for distribution is an issue of capability that is required for local transformers and power lines with current routine distribution, and has required some rewiring and transformer replacement. Well, this does it for the podcast, and I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly look forward to having you again for the next podcast. Thanks again for joining me.